Good morning, and I welcome you back to the House of Graphic Literature. Today we're starting a brand new segment that I like to call Dollar Bins and Cheap Trades. And it's more or less exactly what it sounds like. I raid some dollar bins, I pick up some trades, and we talk about them for a minute. I went to a couple stores yesterday, so I figured I would show off my bounty. And let's start with the dollar bin picks, because that seems like the best possible outcome. So for starters, we have Mighty Thor 362, Walt Simonson issue. Pretty iconic Walt Simonson Thor issue. Big Walt Simonson fan. First got into him through Manhunter, and his Thor is something very, very special. Only in part to the amazing lettering done by John Workman. And if you haven't read Walt Simonson's Thor, and you find stuff of this caliber interesting, I highly recommend it. Next up is a Norm Breyfogle Batman issue, which is also just happens to be the first appearance of the Ratcatcher. Really love Breyfogle, one of my absolute favorite Batman artists. Just a really good sense of composition, able to capture the outlaw nature of a character like Batman. And I especially love whenever he plays around with the silhouettes a lot. That's what makes his Batman so distinctive. This does look rather different, though, compared to like his later work on the character. Still, phenomenal issue. Next is Phantom Stranger number 3. This was part of the 4-issue miniseries that Mike Mignola did. Very, very early Mignola. I think I have Mignola even earlier than this, in Marvel Fanfare. But yeah, very different from what he would come to be known as. If you look at Hellboy and you look at this, it's night and day. But I really like how Mignola plays with a character like Phantom Stranger. He really leans into like the weirdness of this character, and always has him cast in shadow, which I think is something that we've come to be used to with most Mignola works. But yeah, really cool. I wish the other 3 issues were in there, but beggars can't be choosers. We have a Brave and the Bold. I didn't really pick this up for Brave and the Bold. I picked this up for the Nemesis backup stories by Dan Spiegel and Carrie Burkett. Nemesis is one of those characters that is just really interesting to me, and was kind of an integral part of like Batman for a little bit, but he's often pretty forgotten. But these stories are really fun, really cool spy stuff, so that's also why I picked up this other Brave and the Bold as well. I'm trying to collect all the Nemesis Brave and the Bold so I can bound them into a collection. There you go. There's another one. Dan Spiegel, very, very classical artist, I'd say. He was definitely more suited for comic strips, I think. Like his style wouldn't look out of place in a daily comic strip, or maybe a Sunday, but I think it's really cool that he managed to be such a big part of those Brave and the Bolds. Marvel Fanfare number 23. Picked this up off the strength of Ken Steacy. Ken Steacy is a really interesting cartoonist. A lot of his stuff was one-shots, or he did some like longer form stuff at DC. But this is the second part of a 2-part story that he did. I just really like his heavy inking style. I like how he draws these characters so unconventionally compared to like what they were known as by this point. And I like his Iron Man. It's a very classic, almost a callback to the Ditko Iron Man. Also, his take on Doc Ock is really fun too. We have some pinups by him in the back here too. It's a really good Doctor Strange. Definitely Ditko influence right there. There's a good Storm and Deathlock. So yeah, pretty fun pull. This is the second part of a story that features artists who were not on this title. Mike McCone and Flint Henry. Flint Henry is probably known for 2080 the most. And he draws this really freaky outlaw Batman, which I really dig, which is the comic within the comic. Oh, that's really cool. There's a really cool Splatterhouse double page spread. I didn't even see that. But yeah, this really like terrifying outlaw Batman. This really sweet Batmobile. The Mike McCone stuff's fine. It's pretty basic, but probably the coolest thing that I want to point out is the cover, which is done by Dick Sprang, and it was one of the last works he ever did for the character. Pretty prolific Batman artist, and probably the most interesting of those Batman artists from that era. So it's really cool seeing him come back to do this really weird outlaw Batman design. The Batman family, which was a part of the DC Dollar Comics initiative. Pick this up entirely off the strength of, well, one, you get a Starlin Batman pinup, which is pretty sick. Not really for that. Most of the stuff in here is pretty disposable, but like Don Heck, I don't really care much. What I really got this for was for this right here. Michael Golden doing Jack Kirby's Demon and Man-Bat. Michael Golden was someone really special in this era. Definitely a great up-and-comer. The way he draws the Demon is so cool, man. Really cool juxtaposition to the really blocky Kirby Demon. And just really creative paneling. And then the color on these are really great too. Super cool, man. I've always been on the lookout for this cover. I'm pretty sure this is a Michael Golden cover as well, if I'm not mistaken. Secret Origins. Got this entirely off the strength of this right here. The Marshall Rogers retelling of the Batman origin story and the retelling of Detective Comics 27. Marshall Rogers, if you know me at all, is my Ride or Die Batman artist. And this is kind of him at his peak. I've never seen this story in newsprint, and it is beautiful. And then there's a story about this character from Batman and the Outsiders that I don't really care about, but definitely hell of a dollar bin pull. Thunder Mace. Picked this up entirely off of the strength of the backup story, which is Shotgun the Forever Man. Classic 90s kind of edgy character. Got a Sega Genesis video game. Pretty sure this is just a story done by, yeah, it's just a story done by the creator of Shotgun the Forever Man. This is Shotgun's, I think, second appearance, because he did get his own, he got his own book, like, before this, but really cool that he's featured in this backup. The Visitor and how and why he stayed. I've been getting a lot into the Hellboy stuff recently. I don't really care for most of the work that isn't Mike Mignola, but Paul Grist, probably best known for Kane, doing Mike Mignola characters. I think I can really dig that. and I do. It's really cool. It's a fun juxtaposition to the super ink heavy, bathed in shadows version of these characters that Mike Mignola presents. Really not something that you should sleep on, I think. This is from 2017 too, so fairly recent. The Fly from Impact Comics. Mike Parobeck, one of the best artists of the 90s for this kind of style. It's very Alex Toth kind of inspired look. Parobeck probably best known for his Batman the Animated Series comics. And yeah, really, really handsome looking title. One of those guys we lost way too soon. Diabetes is a bitch, man. Yeah, really phenomenal cartoonist. The Masked Man. I just picked this up because I had read a Amazing Heroes article about this. Seems like a Will Eisner kind of pastiche thing. I don't know anything about this BC Boyer fella. I looked him up and I saw that he did some bootleg like Bone comics, which look pretty terrible. But this looks alright. I like the paper stock that they used, but I have to let y'all know if this is any good. Echo of Future Past, which I probably wouldn't have picked up because I don't really care much for the continuity comic stuff. However, Alex Toth, in color, no less. I'm used to seeing this story in black and white, so seeing it in color here is really cool. But yeah, this is the second installment of Torpedo, the really cool Argentine Hitman comic. We have some other cool Argentine stuff in here as well, but I really like this right here. Looks pretty nice. A little bit too muddy, I think, but Virus. And there's like a photorealistic kind of style. That's cool. And you could definitely tell Dark Knight had came out not too long after this. Or before, I should say. Yeah. Pretty cool dollar bin pull. So that's going to do it for the issues. Now let's talk about the cheap trades. First thing I want to mention here is Face Mate by the Botentaro. Pretty anticipated collection here for me. Newest in the Smudge line of manga. Beautiful reproduced color pages, very wacky, insane horror from one of the most interesting guys I've ever known in manga. You don't want to miss this. I don't mean to sound like advertising this, but I totally am. Go out and buy this, please. They need all the support they can get. Oh, and there's that essay back here too. Highly recommend that. Seth is a cartoonist who I've always found interesting, but I've never actually looked into his work. I know some people find him really boring. I see, without having read any of his comics, I see someone who has a great respect for the medium and just adores what he does. And so I wanted to actually give his work a try. And I think starting here with Wimbledon Green might not be a bad idea. This is a really, really cool looking book, I'd say. I like that almost everything that Seth does is in the realm of autobio. I find that super interesting. And his multi-panel style is really cool. And it's honestly like nothing you'll ever see. Which I think is why this was definitely worth picking up. And I love the construction of this book. I like that the edges are rounded off. I like that there's no dust cover. Just everything about this is a really nice package, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. Finally, Daredevil Visionaries by Frank Miller, Volume 2. Picked this up for $5. These are recolored, so it's not as exciting, I think, as picking up the original issues. However, it's still Frank Miller Daredevil, still Klaus Janson inks, still the comics that kind of shook the medium whenever they were made. So, I still think it was a pretty good pickup. But these graffiti designs colors are really fucking bizarre, and I can't wait until these get reprinted with original colors again. We need an artist edition of this stuff so bad. I think we do have an artist edition of this stuff, but it's not as comprehensive. Alright, so that's gonna about do it. Just a fun quick little video showing off some of the cool stuff that I got. If y'all are interested in seeing me make any proper videos about this stuff, probably Wimbledon Green will fetch a video at some point. But yeah, if you liked anything that you see here and you really wish to see me cover it, please do let me know. But until then, I really hope you enjoyed your visit to the House of Graphic Literature, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.